Welcome to the Talking the Line podcast, presented to you by Talking the Line Sports Media, giving you our best insights and analysis so you can rake in some cold hard cash on your next sports bet. Now sit on back, open up your mind, and let's cash some tickets. We can't thank you enough for joining us. We hope you enjoy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, degenerates, gamblers, fans of the New York Giants or New York Jets, NFL football bettors, fantasy football players, anybody I may have left out, far and wide. Welcome in to episode number 112 of the Talking the Line podcast. And as always, thank you so much for taking a few moments out of your day to come and kick it with the crew on this beautiful August 27th, 2021. Now we have loads to talk about today. We have a double season preview coming at you. We're going to go rapid fire. We are going to go light speed. But before we do, please take a few moments to smash that subscribe button on whatever platform you are currently ingesting the TTL pod on as my partner recovers from that hammer hit of his fist. If you are watching on YouTube, you might as well hit that notification bell over there as well so you never miss the start of a live show or any additional TTL crew content dropping, as there is some new content coming very, very soon. But if you are listening to the audio recorded version on your favorite podcast directory, hit that subscribe button there as well if you haven't already. That way you never miss the release of any audio, as we do drop it after every live show is over. Next item up on the docket, if you are watching live or if you are listening, regardless of what you're doing, and you can find it in your heart to be so kind, got a couple extra seconds, hit that like button. Leave us a comment, leave us a rating, jump on over there in the live chat if you are watching live. We can't tell you how much we appreciate it when you do, and it only helps us make Talking the Line Sports Media bigger and better for each and every one of you. Last, but certainly not least, head on over to this episode's description before we dive deep into everything and check out the Talking the Line link tree. It's the first link you'll see there in the description, and in that link tree you will locate all of the TTL crew's social content, our additional content as well, and the talkingtheline.com website, so you can consume all of that however and whenever you please. Ladies and gentlemen, NFL fans, Giants fans, Jets fans, everybody in between I might have missed, I am your humble host, Colt 45 Sroka, and as always, once again, thank you so much for choosing to stop by the Talking the Line podcast today. We have a loaded show coming at you. Beautiful Friday here. We are going to absolutely kill it getting you into your weekend, so make sure you stay tuned for the full thing. We got everything Giants and Jets on tap here today. But I keep saying we. Can't do this all by myself. I'd get awful tired. It'd get awful long and awful windy if I just talked about two teams all by myself. So I need a little help, along with a lot of other things in this Talking the Line Sports Media journey we have been upon. Most importantly, right now, the co-host of the Talking the Line podcast, a man who has already thrown a couple subtle jabs my way because the second Crosstown Classic, now played at Guaranteed Rate Field, is going to be going on tonight between my Cubbies and his Sox. And his Packers are looking better and better day by day. Aaron Rodgers is now dropping 70-yard dimes into nets as if he has never been off a gridiron in the last 365 days. All that being said, ladies and gentlemen, the man, the myth, the degenerate gambling legend himself, Mr. Riley RMags Magnuson. Partner, How you doing over there today, pal?
My man, it is Friday. I am doing damn fine. It appears as though your new strategy is to take the wind out of my sails and just say what I'm, going to brag about, yourself so that I don't. But, yeah, you nailed it on the head. Crosstown Series tonight, part 2. Alls we need, obviously, we want another sweep, but alls we need is one game to take the season series because it is at 3-0 as we come into tonight.
What did Slim Shady say? I know every single thing these fools are about to say about me. Hey, man, I'm out here just cutting it down at the knees before you even get an opportunity, pal. But you mentioned still got another little jab in there.
Sure, you mentioned Aaron Rodgers dropping dimes in the nets. Saw little Jordan Love doing the same. Doing his own little suck it signs.
Oh, J Love dropping dimes and suck it signs. You don't say. Wow.
He's picking things up. A little master Padawan type stuff. Looking like it more and more each day.
As if this cheesehead wearing, green and gold bleeding, 12 diehard needed anything else to be excited about. Now it looks like his second string quarterback, Jordan Love, who couldn't even throw at a net last year, is dropping dimes and throwing suck it signs right alongside Roche. Something I really don't care to hear about all too much, so we're going to skip right along past that and gloss right on over it, because we got a loaded show coming at you today, my friends. Got a little green on here today. Don't get many opportunities to wear green when we're talking about the NFL. I think this is the only green team, the Jets. So, and then also we have the blue, so hey, got to rock the green at this point in time.
Well, not the only green team. My Packers also.
Oh, yeah, I forgot I just said green, but screw them. I don't really care about them at all.
Eagles got an interesting green,
and
not
Eagles
the same.
Are green. Geez, there's a lot of green teams. Don't get a lot of opportunities, but that's why I'm wearing green today. So, first things first, my friends, before we dive deep into everything, we will be doing the usual run-of-the-mill NFL Special Edition. So we'll do the full team breakdown. We'll also do the full schedule predictions, betting preview, and fantasy advice and start, stash, or pass. Now, if you didn't stop by the first double NFL Special Edition, we did that back a couple weeks ago. What were the two teams?
It was Chargers and Raiders.
Chargers and Raiders we did. So this is the second one. We had 2 days planned out, so no more of these. This is the last one, and we'll be jam-packing everything. So when we do go segment by segment, we'll break down the Giants first, then we'll get right into the Jets. So we'll just go right through everything and then just dive right back and forth right into everything. So to make it the easiest, one thing that we did the last time, we just stuck offensively, and then we went to the Jets offense, and then or we can, I guess we'll kind of stay on the same path. We'll stay on the same path. We'll see how it goes as far as timing and everything, and then we'll do that. So we do have the thirds color coordinated, so you guys don't get lost along the way. You know who we're talking about, and we know who we're talking about at the same time. So outside of that, partner, I didn't see any late breaking news here as we were starting the show.
No, sir.
College football week 1. We have there's so much other stuff to talk about.
We'll
I am going to put a cap and a half on it right now because I could talk for another half hour. We'll save that all for the end of the show. Little TTL after hours, or NFL special editions after hours, if you will. But for now, today's 2 teams of the day, the season previews on tap, my friends. We have the New York Giants Football Club, and then the New York Jets. So you see them nice and color coordinated for you. No worries, no problems. Giants and Jets. All right, so we're going to get right after it, my friends. No hesitation, no delay, and it's going to be a little quicker than usual. So if you got your pens and paper out, you might want to get a little extra swig of coffee because we're going to be going at light speed here today. So as always, partner, as you get geared up here, I get geared up here.
Let's rock it.
To you beautiful people out there, if you're sipping on a cup of Joe, cheers.
Couple of Joes, either. One Joe, couple of Joes, who
knows?
knows?
Maybe you're double fisting your Joe this morning.
It's the way to go.
All I know is that that is a hell of a cup of Joe. So, first things first, my friends. As always, first segment of the day, full team breakdown. We're starting things off with the New York Giants. First things first, let's get it cracking. All right, we will go for the we're going to skip the offense's losses and offensive additions,
Right.
and then the same thing for defense as well. I had actually kind of gone through those a little bit in depth. There are some worth noting, but nothing that we won't be able to cover here in kind of
Right.
rapid fashion when talking about the outlook.
I don't think there's any crazy losses either way.
No, nothing major either way. I mean, obviously the one you would write home about is Sam Darnold, but
Sure.
we'll talk about that a little bit more in depth here in a second. So I actually got a confession to make, and you guys are going to find this really funny. The host of the show should really know what the fuck's going on from time to time. And
Right.
like, hey, we're going to skip the additions and the losses. Well, right before we came live, I was like, oh, I didn't write down the additions and losses on my side sheet. So I spent an extra 10 minutes doing that, tweaking out, and realized that I didn't need to do that at all. So everything has now come back to full circle
Hey-o.
for me, and it is time to start the team breakdown. So before we get into 2021, my friends, as always, never know what the hell you're going to get on the TTL pod. Let's take a look at 2020 for the New York Giants. Now, they averaged right at 5 yards per play last year. They rushed the ball 41.30% of the time and passed the ball 58.70% of the time. Even though they had that split, they rushed the ball way too much on early downs, and that is something we'll have to talk about here in just a second. Completion percentage was at 62.09% across the board, and third down conversion percent, 36.36%. One of the main reasons for that was so many early down runs and then having to depend on Saquon Barkley on 2nd and 10 or more, and then not getting it, and then putting the ball in the hands of your quarterback, Danny Dimes, in a position where he has to be successful, and if he isn't successful, that's the entire weight of the world on his shoulder,
Right.
and it translated.
And the defense knows what's coming.
150%. They know it's going to be a pass, and then they never disguised a run. We'll talk about that a little bit more going into 2021, but that's why you saw that 36.36 clip on third down. In the red zone, also piss poor. I'm sorry, we got to see this improve. 46.34% in the red zone for the Giants last year. There needs to be an extreme amount of improvements all across this offensive side of the ball. We'll talk about it a little more when we get into the coaching staff. I don't think that is going to happen this year. I'm sorry, Giants fans. That's my hot take early, but let me tell you about the 2021 team before I tell you why I think that. As far as the offensive line goes, you have Matt Pert, right tackle, Will Hernandez, right guard, Nick Gates, center, left guard, Shane Lemieux, and then left tackle, Andrew Thomas. Solid line, nothing major to write home about. We'll tell you about the rankings here at the end, too. Tight end, would love to see some improvement from him. I hope we do. Evan Ingram. Wide receiver room, Darius Slayton, Sterling Shepard. Name that we really don't know, Kenny Galladay. And when I mean what we really don't know is what the hell is actually going to happen with this man. He got hurt early last year and spent a lot of time on the injured list last year with the Lions. I took a severe hit drafting him high on my fantasy team. We'll talk about that in Start, Stash, or Pass. I got some stories there. But it looks like he might not even be ready for week 1, so we're going to see the same kind of storyline play out. Is he injury prone? The Giants paid Kenny Galladay, so hopefully he can come back and produce for them soon. But in the interim, they have Kadarius Toney and John Ross, the 4th and 5th man up on the depth chart. Then obviously coming back this year, Saquon Barkley, backed up by Devontae Booker, previous Bronco, previous Raider, kind of a journeyman RB2 now in the league at this point. And then Danny Dimes, Daniel Jones coming in for the 4th official year. Obviously, we'd have liked to see a lot more improvements by this. Third official year, I apologize. Third official year. Obviously, we'd like to see a little bit more in 2020 from an improvement standpoint. Either way, because he was in 2018, I do believe. Either way, you got Danny Dimes and then Mike Glennon. So my thoughts offensively before I kick it over to you, partner, why I said that I don't think there's going to be many improvements is mainly because of this offensive coordinator and the scheme. And we'll talk about it a little bit more in depth once we get into the coaching staff, but I just don't know that Jason Garrett is going to have some of these things ratcheted up and plays ratcheted up to be able to get the job done offensively for these guys, be able to put Danny Dimes in those critical positions where the defense doesn't know what's coming.
Right.
Not big thing. Danny Dimes, not comfortable with play action under center. He's just not. So let's stop running those at like an 80% clip. Maybe that's a good thing to start thinking about. And then now they have to really start to juggle wide receivers, something that Garrett has never been good with at all, ever. And now, okay, Barkley's coming back. I just hope he doesn't overuse Barkley, and
Right.
then we have another bad situation. Excuse me, I got to knock on wood early, but that's what my thoughts are offensively. I'll give you a little bit more what I'm thinking. A lot of it looms around Jason Garrett. We'll talk about that a lot more once we get in the coaching staff. But partner, what are you thinking here offensively for the Giants?
I echo a lot of what you're saying with my concerns here, almost to a T. The only thing I'll add is that I like the pieces that they added to this offense in the offseason with Tony, Ross, Galladay. I like those receivers.
Yeah.
I think their top priority should have been boosting up this offensive line, both from a passing and rushing standpoint, because, this offensive line is not very good, and I don't think you can get a full evaluation on Daniel Jones in the young part of his career without even an average to above average offensive line, and it's below average. So I really think that's going to be another issue on top of everything that you just mentioned, the scheming, the play calling, when they're calling the right plays at the right time is not there also. So I think Daniel Jones, he proved he can't be successful with a situation like that. He was, I think, sacked the fourth most in the entire NFL last year, and I think he's going to be top 5 once again, and that's going to be a huge issue, and he's going to look bad. And then I think it could be a situation where maybe they'll keep him around for another year. Maybe they ship him off. But I think it's going to be a situation where if he gets shipped off, obviously he's not a great quarterback now. He would have proven that by now. Think there could be a situation where he goes somewhere else with a better situation and looks a lot better. But that's kind of my thoughts here. The offensive line is really my biggest concern here, partner.
Yeah, you picked up anything that I could have left off by far. So let me wrap everything up here with the key rankings offensively for the G-men. As far as, or actually courtesy of the guys over at SFA, as we always like to say. Quarterback room comes in ranked 28th unit in the league right now. Offensive line, 31st ranked unit in the league. Big concerns there. Running backs, 10th ranked unit in the league. Obviously, that's the majority of coming from Saquon Barkley. Right. And then the receivers, 19th ranked unit in the league. If they can't figure out the health, if Kenny Galladay can't figure out his health, if they struggle at all trying to slot pieces in with this depth, they have names at depth. They have guys at depth, but Jason Garrett has to be able to use them correctly. So that is the key rankings. Let's flip the script real quickly on over to the defensive side of the ball. Going to look pretty similar in most positions. They did pick up a few guys in free agency or via the draft that'll most likely get an immediate start. Yep. Most notably, rookie Azeez Al-Jilari on the left side or right side. I think it's the left side. I can't ever remember on the defensive side of the ball. Either way, defensive end, Azeez Al-Jilari looks like he's going to be getting a start. Young man coming out of Georgia. Go Dogs. And then for the rest of that line, you have Leonard Williams. Finally was able to see some success last year under Patrick Graham. Dexter Lawrence. I apologize. Almost said DeMarcus Lawrence. Wrong team. Dexter Lawrence and then O'Shane Zimenez. And then rounding out the front seven, you have Blake Martinez and also Leonard Carter. No, that is not
Lorenzo
Carter. Lorenzo Carter. And then as far as the secondary goes, you have James Bradbury, Darnay Holmes, Dory Jackson, new add this year, free agency pickup, Jabril Peppers, strong safety, and then also Logan Ryan. They also have a lot of depth. Most notably, I want to give a shout out to my guy Julian Love. Safety played a lot of different looks, different blitz packages, different coverage packages. Came in out of Notre Dame. I believe last year was his second year in the league or third year in the league. I can't remember right offhand. He is a friend of a friend, but if by some chance you do hear this through the grapevine, keep doing you. Keep killing shit, young man. You are absolutely destroying it on the defensive side of the ball. So I hope... Me personally, I hope he can see a starting spot here this year, and I think he is definitely worth it. So they have depth in that secondary. But as far as the front seven goes, it's going to be a little questionable. Obviously, they got the rookie coming in, Al-Jilari. I think he'll be able to produce. I don't know if we see a repeat from Leonard Williams, 11.5 sacks last year, I do believe. Dexter Lawrence, we'll see what kind of pressure they can generate on the interior. The edge rushers, they don't scare me the most. Zimenez and Al-Jilari, I keep saying it. I don't know. It doesn't scare me the most. Blake Martinez, time to time, can pull a big play either in coverage or slamming down on the quarterback or running back. But Overall, not my favorite defense in the league by far.
I'll echo a lot of what you're saying, and I'll put it in a way to kind of cap what we're both thinking here. I think this is a defense that they've managed to cover up their glaring holes that they've found over the last few years, but I don't think they have any glaring strengths. And I do like this secondary, but kind of like you, I don't love it. I think it's going to be really solid. I think it's going to be above half of the league, but I don't think it's going to be a top 5 secondary. And then, like I said, overall, I just don't think they have really any glaring holes, so that definitely helps. And, they shouldn't be gashed every single game, but I think there's going to be some games where they still let up a lot of points to some of these high-powered offenses, and then there might be a couple games against some bad offenses that they look really solid. So like you, I like it, I don't love it.
I like it, I don't love it. That is a great way to close that. Let's give you the key rankings to officially close the defensive side of the ball, once again courtesy of our guys over at Sharp Football Analysis. The front seven, they got some concerns just as I do. 22nd ranked unit in the league. The secondary, not as many concerns as maybe Mags had. He does like it. I like it a lot just because of some of the names that I know kind of personally, and then also some of the big names in there I like. 11th ranked secondary in the league. So they obviously have some high hopes for them. Hopefully this Giants secondary can keep them in a lot of games. Let's wrap up the Giants side of the ball, my friends, with a little bit of the coaching staff. You have coming in for, well, actually all of them coming in for their second official season now. Brand new coaching staff last year. Joe Judge, head coach, offensive coordinator Jason Garrett, and then the aforementioned defensive coordinator Patrick Graham. Now, the one I want to spend the most time on is Jason Garrett, and you can fill in the holes wherever you want. But why I say that I think this offense sputters once again, my mind goes right back to Dallas when he got the play calling taken away from him 2 years ago. And he came in, and mainly he got the play calling taken away because he wasn't able to make improvements. He wasn't able to look from week to week and put his guys in the best position to win at the best case scenario.
Right.
So that's why he got it taken away. Then they bring him in to New York, where you saw regression in many, many statistical categories from 2019 to 2020. And I'm very, very concerned that Garrett just sticks to that same track record. That I don't know if he's not an analytics guy. I don't know if he doesn't look behind the scenes. But there's guys out there, if there's guys like Warren Sharp that has the capability to do it, you have the capability to do it as an offensive coordinator. So I don't know if he doesn't look at the numbers or what he doesn't do, but I'm very afraid of two things that are going to happen. He is going to stick to running the ball heavily on first down and probably second down too, forcing Daniel Jones into third and longs more than it needs to happen. And it's not going to work out so hot, and we probably see right around another 40% third down conversion, maybe even 35% third down conversion. And that's going to lead to them not getting the ball across the 50 all too often, and that's going to lead to another bad red zone scoring year. And I just think it all kind of hangs on Jason Garrett. Good, not great offense. They have the guys we talked about in the wide receiver room. Saquon coming back looks like an absolute freak in some of the videos you can see on social media. Danny Dimes is a good quarterback. He just needs a good OC to get him there. And I just don't know if this offense can be great like they need to be. They have a true shot to win the NFC East this year because it is the NFC East with the pieces they have. And they have a very easy cupcake schedule if you look at it. But overall, it just scares me that I don't think that they can elevate to that great level that they need to be at.
Yeah, I can't add too much here. I mean, he really just hasn't proved. He's basically proven that he can keep his job, but not excel you, whether it's Cowboys or here, excel you to the level that you want to go at. And so now you get Saquon back, and I think that's really going to enhance him even more as far as thinking that he should run on first and second down, because he even still continued to do it even without Saquon, which was bizarre. And now that you have this superstar running back, and I do love Saquon to that level, but as we mentioned, it's just, especially with this offensive line, if they had a great run blocking offensive line, it might be a different story. Still probably not, but it's not a good offensive line, run blocking offensive line. So I think it's going to be rough. I think, both Saquon is not going to look as good as he should, and Daniel Jones might look bad, especially against some really good pass rushes. I think there's going to be a few bad defenses that they can look really solid against, and Jason Garrett will, maybe that'll be enough to keep him his job. But, Yeah, he's the Clapper for a reason. That's his nickname, the Clapper for a reason. But yeah, I've got
Here we go, guys. Keep
pretty
it going.
mediocre
Keep it
hopes
going.
here.
What do you say, guys? All right, good job, good job, good job. Yeah, I could not agree with you more on all of that stuff. We'll talk about it more in depth, even more. We'll continue to cover this. It just seems as we get segment by segment, we just continue to roll on more and more stuff, and we come along more and more stuff. So we'll definitely continue to cover this more in depth, and definitely from a fantasy perspective in the Start Stash or Pass fourth and final segment of the day. But let's keep this show moving, steaming on down the tracks. As I always like to say, the New York Jets team breakdown is now on tap. All right, quickly, now that I know I don't have to worry about the offensive or defensive additions and losses, I can just keep it moving and grooving. First things first, let me get this lineup in front of me, and here we go. All right. I also do have to remember these first names, so sometimes I'm really proud of myself that I can keep this moving and grooving, but sometimes you got me right there to keep me going.
Yes,
so now that I said that, watch me forget everybody. Offensive line here for the New York Jets, you have Morgan Moses, Greg Van Rotten, Connor McGovern, Elijah Vera Tucker, and Mekhi Becton. So, not the worst offensive line in the league, not the best, but definitely a group of guys that I think can protect that new rookie quarterback, Zach Wilson. Something surprising to me, though, they didn't pick up another guy, or even maybe just like a journeyman QB2 to be behind him. Maybe just a little bit of coaching up, if you will, or maybe a little bit in case something happens. You got somebody there. They picked up another quarterback in the draft, James Morgan. So 2 rookie quarterbacks here in New York. Something a little interesting, a little different scheme to go with there. We'll see how that works out. Running back room, Bob Saleh. We'll talk about him, Robert Saleh. He brought Tevin Coleman with him from the 49ers. That's RB1. RB2 looks to be their pick in this year's draft, Michael Carter. Michael Carter, I think, is going to be a sleeper, and I will talk about him in fantasy once we get to that segment. I think he is going to be very key to this team. As far as the wide receivers go, pretty solid group. Actually, the best group that New York has probably had, at least since Darnold was there. Darnold never had a group that looked like this. Corey Davis, Jamison Crowder, Denzel Mims, who should only continue to blossom in his second year, Elijah Moore, and Keelan Cole. I'm actually really high on Keelan Cole, and I just think that he got the short end of the stick in Jacksonville, 4th, 5th guy on the depth chart, and never really had a good quarterback throwing to him. I think he could get into the 4th or 3rd spot on the depth chart. Okay. He is very, very sneaky, and a lot of people do not take stock of Keelan Cole. And then, last but certainly not least, Chris Herndon. He is the tight end here, comes in for his 3rd or 4th year now in New York. Never the best tight end to write home about, but I think they can definitely uptick his production here, especially with Mr. Mike LaFleur coming into town. We'll talk about him as well. That's my thoughts offensively so far. Partner, what are you thinking for the 2021 Jets offense?
Yeah, it's a big question mark for me. It sounds like you're a little higher on this offensive line. I think they could have a nice improvement, but I'm a little worried. We both have been talking about how much each and every day we're liking more and more of Zach Wilson. I think there's going to be some more growing pains here. I like the trajectory that they're on. I think this is still going to be a tough year for this offense, while they will show some flashes. I like the additions they made at the wide receiver position, no question about that. I think that certainly helps them a great deal. Tevin Coleman, in his past, I have been a fan of. I'm just not sure what we see out of him. And you mentioned Michael Carter. I think Michael Carter could usurp him as the number 1 running back there, because kind of what I was about to say. I don't know what we see from Tevin Coleman if he is that number 1 running back. I like him a lot as a number 2 running back.
Sure.
Not sure what we see from him as a number 1. So, I think by the end of the season, Zach Wilson, Jets fans will have a lot of optimism, but at the same time, it's still going to be a tough offensive season to watch for the most part, in my opinion. I think there's going to be some struggles here.
Yeah, the one big thing for me, and you took the words right out of my mouth. As the days go on, we get higher and higher on the New York Jets. Right. And especially you, it looks like this Zach Wilson to Aaron Rodgers relationship is just blossoming more and more day by day. Even before that, too. But it's just getting stronger and stronger. Sure. Now they're both in the league. And, I think he has success, but I'm still just a little nervous, man. Sometimes I look at him and it's like, That's a boy in a man's league.
I think you and I don't, maybe we talked about it on the pod, but I don't think we did. This is the first time, we're in our mid 20s. This is the first time that we saw this dude and we're like, wow, that dude looks like he's 12 years old, man.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, whoa, I don't know. But then he came out, couple pressers, had that dog mentality. I was like, all right, Zach, you're winning me over. Let's get with it. Let's go. Here we go. Bright eyes. And then he makes some plays, I'm like, okay, Zach Wilson, what are you doing here? Then I look deeper into it and it's like, shit, they're going to have a few defenses that are going to know and really want to pressure him, namely the New England Patriots. And he only saw pressure at about a 23% clip at BYU last year. I'm a little concerned for Mr. Wilson, especially with this offensive line. There's room for improvement, but I'm a little concerned.
I like Mike LaFleur. I definitely like what he could possibly bring for this offense. I think they're a year away from being competent. I think they're going to have a really good draft pick, get another offensive lineman or two, and then in next year, like I said, competent in 2 years, maybe they'll be looking really solid.
Yep, let's wrap up the offensive side of the ball here for the New York Jets. The quarterback room comes in ranked per SFA 29th in the league. Obviously, a lot of question marks there. Offensive line 24th in the league. I think there's a lot of room for improvement upon that, but they just have not seen consistency at any of those guys. 32nd ranked running back room in the league, worst in the league. Hopefully they'll be able to improve upon that. I think that does loom large with Tevin Coleman not being a true RB1. Wide receivers come in ranked as the 29th unit in the league. A little bit of a high ranking there, if I do say so myself, but they, again, also don't have a true wide receiver one.
Right.
Corey Davis showed flashes in 2020 in Tennessee, but do we see that again this year? Is he going to really, truly break out? And then what do we see from Mims? What do we see from even the remainder of the guys on the roster there? All of a sudden, I'm blanking because I got it.
Elijah Moore.
Yeah,
Cole,
Moore. What do we see? Cole, all those guys. So a lot of question marks there, obviously up and down the offense, but obviously with those high rankings, massive, massive room for improvement. Let's flip things over to the defensive side of the ball here real quick, get things wrapped up for the Jets. As far as the defensive line goes, they brought in Vinny Curry and Sheldon Rankins, edge and defensive tackle off of free agency. They got Quinnen Williams rocking and rolling, and then they brought in Carl Lawson off free agency, but if you didn't know, he tore his Achilles a couple weeks back, so he's done for the season. They did bring in Aaron Odeoye, I believe that is how you say his last name, coming in off of out of Baltimore. He looks like he is going to be the immediate slot in for Lawson and be a pretty big key piece here for Robert Saleh this year. Then Jared Davis. Jared Davis is battling a little injury as well. Yep. It looks like he should be back around week 4 to 6.
Yeah, somewhere around maybe after the bye week, week 7.
After the bye week, somewhere in there. And then the always popular C.J. Mosley should have a dominant season again at linebacker. And then as far as the secondary goes, not the best in any means, but once again, a lot of room for improvement with some of these young names and the potential for development. They got Bless Austin, Javelin Goudry, Bryce Hall, Ashton Davis, and Marcus May. I got all of them in the secondary without having to look or cheat. So there you go. Very solid group of guys. Obviously not any ones that you're going to write home about. But again, I think they have an immense amount of improvement or potential for improvement here on the defense. And especially, you're bringing in Robert Saleh, defensive mind. We saw his defense. You felt the wrath of his defense as a Packers fan for the last few years. So I think at the bare minimum, this is where we see the most improvement in the Jets this year. Okay. And that's kind of where I would leave it for now. Partner, what are you thinking for the defense here?
Yeah, for the most part, I'm kind of with you here. There's a few playmakers. My thoughts here is kind of a little bit different than I thought of the Giants, where I said there was no glaring holes, no glaring strengths. There's a few guys that are bona fide playmakers, Quinnen Williams, C.J. Mosley, that I absolutely love. But then there's some actual glaring holes that I see here as far as the secondary, and I think there's going to be some struggles against some really high-powered pass offenses. But like you said, I am a big fan of Bob Saleh, and I think he's going to figure out a way to make this a useful and maybe scrappy lineup. And kind of like I said about the offense, I think it's a year away from being competent, and I think they get some secondary help in the draft or free agency next year, and they look a lot better next year and could be very good in a couple of years here. So still some concerns for me over here.
little bit of concerns. I can definitely hear it in your voice. Hear
Big
it in your
concerns
tone
on the
for
secondary,
sure. So,
especially.
yeah, the secondary definitely. I think that is their biggest possibility for improvement,
Yep.
but definitely their biggest hole. Obviously, the guys over at SFA think so too. Secondary comes in ranked as a 31st unit in the league. Ooh, not good at all. And then the front seven, 21st in the league. But hey, I said it before. Those big numbers obviously give them a lot of room for improvement.
Right.
Let's wrap up the Jets team breakdown before we get into the second segment of the day. Not doing too bad on time here. The rest of the segments will be a lot shorter in regards to breaking a full team down.
Yep.
For the coaching staff, New York Jets, we talked about him time and time again. Our boy Bob Saleh, Robert Saleh, coming from the DC job in San Francisco. If you didn't know, if you're a fan of the NFL, I don't know how in the fuck you wouldn't have known that.
Right.
And then offensive coordinator, your guy's brother,
Yes, sir.
Mike LaFleur, coming from the 49ers as well. He was OC there under Shanahan, so very
Not quite OC. He was pass coordinator.
pass coordinator. Well, that's still pass coordinator.
Close enough.
A pass coordinator in a Shanahan offense. I love
close
it.
enough.
He's
Yeah,
got
exactly.
he's got access to some of the premier offense
Sure does.
in the NFL. So I'm very excited to see what he can do with this offense and Zach Wilson. For all the question marks at talent, I don't think there's any question marks at coaching.
Oh, no.
They rounded out defensive coordinator. We'll see Jeff Ulbrich. I don't know how involved he's going to be. Obviously, Saleh's going to be that defensive hands-in coach. And then I think he's just going to kind of let LaFleur run with the offense.
Right.
And I'm very excited to see what these guys can do. They are all new, coming in, brand new, ready to rock and roll. So I'm a little nervous. It hasn't ever been done for the Jets before. If it hasn't been done in the last 2 decades, why would it be done again this year? But 2-14, you can only go up from here, my friends. What do you think about the coaching staff?
I've got a lot of faith in this coaching staff. Like you said, my man, these guys, I'm not exactly sure about Ulbrich. I have to imagine he's a competent guy because of how highly I think of Bob Saleh. So I've got high hopes as far as the future of the Jets. This next decade, I think, could be one of the better decades of Jets football. I just don't know that we're going to see it quite yet this year in 2021.
I don't believe so either, but yeah, I'm also very high on the coaching staff right alongside with you. All right, let's keep it moving. Second segment of the day for both the Giants and the Jets. We're going to go back to the Giants now. We are going to give you our full predictions for their record in the entire schedule breakdown. Now we'll go week by week as always when we get to the full betting preview, but just at a super high level right now, they do have their bye week on week 10, and overall they don't have the hardest schedule in the world.
No, sir.
They have a lot of winnable games, especially with, I think, their defense might be able to keep them in games more than their offense will, but a lot of games that could definitely be a coin flip and they could lose, and it could be, again, a really, really bad 6-10 season for the Giants.
6-11.
6-11. Oh, 6-11 this year. I do apologize. I keep forgetting, man. I got to remember that. We got under 2 weeks away.
Yes,
oh my
sir.
gosh, I forgot.
Under
I didn't
2
put out,
weeks.
I didn't put out my 13-day tweet. Hey, day's not over yet. Day's not over yet. It's all right. No problem. No problem. I just can't let anybody steal my thunder. I got to get there. All right, here we go. First things first, we'll go through the entire record here, or the entire schedule, give you our record predictions. They got the NFC East, obviously, they are in the NFC East, and then AFC West, NFC South, and then the remaining 3, Dolphins, Bears, and Rams. Starting things off in the NFC East. Now, this is going to be very, very doggone interesting. You heard me say it. If that was the first time you heard me say it, the NFC East. We've kind of coined that term here on the pod because we don't really know what exactly is going to happen here. Are they going to be the NFC Beast this year? Are they going to stay the NFC Least? Are we going to find them, as we think, somewhere in the middle? But what team shakes out as the right one in the middle? We don't know. Obviously, the Cowboys look to have the most high-powered offense out of the whole run of the mill. Obviously, the most high-powered defense you would probably give to the football team.
Certainly.
And then the Giants and Eagles kind of fall in the middle of what the fuck are they going to do.
Exactly.
So it's really, really difficult to predict this right now, if I'm going to be bluntly honest with you. I think because of some goofiness, just because they are the 2 question mark teams, they will split with the Eagles.
Okay.
I'll give them a 1-1. I do believe that the matchup with the football team is terrible.
Yep.
Absolutely terrible. I will give them the week 2 matchup against the football team. That is in Washington on Thursday Night Football. I do not trust Danny Dimes, and I trust Fitzmagic on
That's
Thursday
Night.
Football.
Oh, that screams Fitzmagic.
That's Fitzmagic, baby. That's Fitzmagic all the way. Are you fucking kidding me?
Seriously.
So I will take that in week 2, and then
Week 18 is the
week
other
18
one.
is the last one. I honestly think that might mean a lot for the football team, and that's not going to mean dick for the Giants. So give me the football team 2-0 against the Giants this year. And then the Cowboys, they got them in week 5. Nothing really to write home about. It's a standard game. I don't think they'll be able to beat them in the Star this year. So I'll say 0-1. And then in week 15, that is coming off of 2 games straight on the road against Miami and Chargers in week 13 and 14. So they might be pretty beat up. They might really need that game, but that game also might mean a shitload for the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay.
Football team, Cowboys, move themselves away from the pack and kind of are the 2 teams here that are who's going to be 1 and 2. So once again, I'm going to give them 0-2 against the Cowboys.
Okay.
And I am very sorry, New York Giants
1-5?
fans. The Giants are going 1-5 in the AFC East.
Interesting. I am going a little more optimistic than you. I'll start with the football team. I'm going 0-2 against them. I think as much as you do, I think that's a horrible matchup for this Giants team. I'll give them 2 wins against the Eagles, actually. Both games last year were extremely tight. They lost by 1 in Philly, and they won by 10 at home. I'm going to give them a flip on that one they lost. So I'll give them 2 there. And I'll give them a split with the Cowboys, surprisingly enough. One way or another, I think they get one of these games. These games in the NFC East are just so damn weird. They split with them last year, actually. Obviously, that was without Dak, at least in the second. Certainly both games, it was without Dak. Lost the first one 37-34 in Dallas, then won 23-19 in Week 17. So I'll give them a split there, and I'll give them a nice 3-3 clip here in the NFC East.
Wow.
Seems
3-3.
optimistic, but
yeah, that seems optimistic as all hell. I just do not think we see enough improvements offensively within the division for them to keep pace.
Okay.
It might not be those shootouts again. I could see it might not be those shootouts
I
again.
promise this is the most optimistic I will be in the rest of the schedule breakdowns here.
So into the AFC West. Get it out of the way earlier. They're not beating the Chiefs.
Yep.
The Broncos. I'm high on the Broncos.
Week 1.
I think that that game is not in Mile High, but I still trust it. I still trust the Broncos, man. Vic trusts my boy Teddy Two Gloves, cover machine. I think that team is going to do some things, and that defense is going to do some things. So 0-2. I don't think they're getting the win over the Chargers, and the Raiders is going to be a coin flip. That is in Week 9, right before their bye. You know what? In a coin flip, Gruden is on the way out. We talked about it. Give me the Giants in that game. 1-3 in the AFC West.
I'm right there with you. I think the Broncos, once again, is just a terrible matchup for the Giants. Not going to waste any time on the Chiefs. They're losing that game. We're very high on the Chargers. That one's in L.A. I'll give that one to the Chargers. And then Week 9, I want to give it to the Giants as well, and I think I'm going to. But the Giants come into that game with a 8-day rest disadvantage. Raiders are coming off their bye, and the Giants are coming off of a road Monday night game against the Chiefs. It doesn't sound great.
0-4.
You're going 0-4. I'm still going to give it to the Giants. I think because of that Raiders defense, I think this is one of the teams that the Giants offense that might be the best the Giants offense will look, as long as that rest disadvantage doesn't loom large. So I will go 1-3 here.
Not after a Monday night football.
I know,
beat
that
down
recipe
by the
is
Chiefs.
terrible.
That's their hardest game.
Yeah.
That is their hardest game on the schedule
Right.
outside of after the bye week in Week 11 on Monday Night Football against the Bucks.
Right.
No, they're not winning that game in my mind against the Raiders. So
Okay.
I'm going on for you sticking 1-3.
I am sticking 1-3.
All right. Moving on into their second round of 4 out of their 8 main non-divisional games, the NFC South. Falcons, I kind of put on the same wavelength, man. I don't know. I'm high on Arthur Smith, not high as I am on a lot of guys,
Right.
but I think he could have some success, and I think the Falcons could move away from shooting themselves in the foot in the second half, and the Falcons edge that one out.
Okay.
I love Matt Rule and this offense and potentially that defense. No, that defense in Carolina has got me concerned. I'm I'm going to go ahead and give the Carolina Panthers the win in a very tight shootout. That game I see as one of the shootout games in my mind,
Okay.
or the Panthers could just absolutely run away. But I see it as more of a shootout. And then the Saints, I think they'll go marching in, no problem. So I'll say 0-3 there, and then 0-4 again from me,
0-4,
from
wow.
the NFC South.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
That seems pretty pessimistic.
It does seem pessimistic out of the NFC South, but
I'm going, sorry if you're not done.
go ahead.
I am going 1-3 here. I think the Saints, they go into New Orleans. The Saints win that one, and then not even going to waste time on Tampa. They do get the rest advantage against Tampa coming out of the bye, obviously, but I don't think that matters. And then I'm going to go a split between the Panthers or Falcons. I am kind of tentative on which one I'm giving it to. They come into week 3 against the Falcons with a 3-day rest advantage, so that helps them a little bit there. But one way or another, I'll give them 1-3 out of those, the NFC South.
Yeah, I'm gonna retract that just a little bit. I was looking at those rest disadvantages or advantages rather whenever you were talking about that.
Yeah.
Both of those games being at home, yeah, they'll get at least one of those.
One of them,
I think. So hey, don't hate me too much now, Giants fans. I need to chill out a little bit. All right, 3 more games on the schedule: Finns, Bears, and Rams. The Dolphins are always intriguing to me as that game is in Miami, so I'm gonna give that game to the Miami Dolphins. The Bears, obviously, I love my Bears, and we got an absolute beatdown by them last year. I would hope by week 17 that Justin Fields is playing, and I would also hope that at that point in time we are in this serious
Bears
running.
got that one, if that's what... Bears got the win last year.
Oh, they got the win last
year.
year? Oh, yeah, because Saquon went out.
Yep.
They were up, and then Saquon went out.
Right.
That was a point in time when I was a realist Bears fan, and everybody was so fucking excited that we were 5-0.
Awful.
And you so vaguely remember, I looked at you right before that week started, and I said, partner, I love my Bears, but they are not going to be on my main TV. Yeah. This is a fugazi. This is a fake. This is not real. And everybody was still on it, and you saw what happened. But either way, they got the win. Sticking with it. Don't let me get going on my Bears. I will give the Bears the win there as well, and then I don't think they have a shot in hell against the Rams, even though that game is in New York. So damn, pessimistically again, I say 0-3 in the remaining 3.
Yes, sir. I am going right there with you, 0-3. If the game against the Dolphins and Bears were in New York, I think I might give the New York Giants both of those wins. Going to Miami, I love Miami's home field advantage. And Bears in week 17, going to Chicago, Soldier Field in late December does not sound like a good recipe for Danny Dimes against this Bears defense. I mentioned it. We mentioned it. The Bears took that game last year. They've actually taken, this will be the 3rd straight year the Giants and Bears are playing all in Chicago. Bears won the last 2 games. And now at that point of the season, the Bears should have Justin Fields in the lineup. I think with the Bears defense in late December against Danny Dimes and Justin Fields, whether the Bears are in contention or not, I think the Bears will still be playing very, very hard, trying to get some momentum for Justin Fields. So I'm giving the Bears that one in a crisp 0-3 out of those extra 3, partner.
Are you feeling okay, man? You all right? Can't believe those words come out of your mouth.
Against a bad matchup.
As an analyst, they have to come
I just think
out,
this team is going to struggle against the teams that have some good pass rushes. That's mainly my concerns here.
So both of us do, and if you have dyslexia, I apologize. But if you're with me, 2-15.
2-15.
If you're with Mags, 5-12.
Goodness, man.
That seems extremely, extremely pessimistic as I look at those numbers after them going 6-10. But here's what I'm going to tell you.
I'm laughing, but I'm not totally. Yeah, go ahead.
Here's what I'm going to tell you is that if our predictions, as along with a lot of other people's predictions, that Jason Garrett does not improve upon the mistakes in 2020, this is exactly what's going to happen. The 2-15 is exactly what is going to happen. It'll be anywhere from 2-15 to 5-12. They won't win more than, they won't lose less than 2, but they won't win more than 5.
Right. And
Go ahead.
I'll add to this. We're also talking about them as if their team that they have now is going to be fully healthy in doing that. You have to imagine.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're going to be ravished by injuries. There's not a team in NFL history that's got a clean bill of health the entire season.
Yeah,
There's going to be
absolutely.
some times where they have some pieces out, and it's going to be even worse. So that's the only thing I had to add there.
Yeah, so it's going to be a huge question mark here if they cannot improve. I had one final thing I wanted to add there, but I really like
bad.
that you added that as well. No, that's all good. So we'll keep it moving. We are getting a little windy, so we need to tighten it up here into the Jets as well. So just a forewarning, either if you're with me, 2-15 or 5-12 with Mags. Keeping it moving, keeping it grooving. We are going, and we talked about some of their key rest and differential splits there. We won't spend time on that today. Let's go into the Jets full schedule breakdown. All right, my friends, doing it once again, starting with their division. The AFC East. There is no Eesh involved here because the Bills should be damn good, the Patriots should be damn good, and the Dolphins should surprise a lot of people. I'm very concerned about the Jets in 2021 in the division. I think that they could split with the Finns. I really do believe that they could split with the Finns, but it's going to be extremely hard. One of the games against the Finns, it gets right after playing Buffalo, and it is on a 3-day rest disadvantage. Both times they play the Dolphins, they're on a rest disadvantage, 3 days and 7 days. Jeesh. Especially after playing the Bills. Maybe they go 0-2. I hate to say that. Doggone it. All right, so as far as the Pats go, I have to go 0-2 because of Belichick's record against rookie quarterbacks. I can't go against Belichick. And then the Bills, shit the bed, man. The Bills, they do have a rest advantage against the Bills at home, but I don't think the Bills are going to let that slip in Week 10. And then maybe the Bills look past it in Week 18
there you go.
because they have it, and maybe that's their lone win, but
Even still,
I would hate to fucking hang it on that like that's the Bills look-away game, and like, oh, that's how you
Mitch
get it.
Trubisky, baby.
Oh, man.
He's looked good in preseason. I'm not even half
Honestly,
joking about that.
Honestly, boys and girls, this breaks my heart. I know you can see it on my face. I was really hoping to be high. Maybe it'll shake out here at some point in time, but I got to go 0-6 in the division.
Yeah. I wish these two teams had flipped their schedules because I could give the Jets a handful more wins as opposed to the Giants, but I am also going 0-6 here. Terrible matchup for me against the Patriots. As you mentioned, Bill Belichick against rookie quarterbacks absolutely destroys them. They are coming out of the bye in Week 7 against the Patriots, but it is in New England, so that doesn't help. That kind of negates that, in my opinion. Terrible matchup against the Bills. Even 18, that is the one that you could talk me into. Week 18, if the Bills take their foot off the gas. But if I remember correctly, I could be wrong, but I think the Bills did that last year to someone, and they still beat them by 30 with their backups in.
Yeah.
So I'm giving them a crisp 0-6. If they had the Dolphins at home coming out of their bye or something like that, that would be the one I would give them. But as you mentioned, they've got 2 rest disadvantages against the Finns, so I am going 0-6 out of the AFC East.
Jets fans, I really hope that's not what happens. I really, really hope that you can make some moves, but unfortunately, that really looks like what's going to happen here in the AFC East. As far as their 8 main non-divisional opponents, they got the AFC South and the NFC South. AFC South, I think, is where we finally see a little bit of success here for these boys. I think they get the win over the Texans. The Jags are going to be the battle of the rookie quarterbacks, and I'm going to go with Michael LaFleur's offense.
Okay.
I'll bet Darrell Bevell's offense in the first quarter.
There you go.
And then I will take Mike LaFleur's offense for the full game. So give me the Jets against the Jags. And then I can't see a way they edge out the Titans or the Colts, even if that is a shootout. I can't see that happening.
Right.
So I'll give them a 2-2 in the AFC South.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, my man. I will say 2-2, and I don't think it's super optimistic. I guess it's a little optimistic, but I'll go 2-2 as well. I think week 12, I'm definitely giving it to the Texans. Week 16 against the Jags, I'm gonna say that whoever the healthiest team at that point is gonna be the one that wins that game. So I guess I'm not going to predict that, but I will say the Jets. So give me 2-2 here.
All right. Well, hey, speaking of, we are just wrapping up with the Jets before we move right along, or the Giants. Some big news coming out of the Giants facility. Evan Ingram is back at full health, participating after working on the side for the last few days, but there are some new injuries. Rodarius Williams, Gary Brightwell, they are out, but they're. And then some big names: Aaron Robinson, Kadarius Toney, Austin Mack, Danny Shelton, Shane Lemieux, Ellerson Smith, Josh Jackson, Adoree Jackson, Kenny Galladay, and John Ross, all on the injured list.
Wowza.
So a lot of guys we talked about, and I said, hey, maybe they can slot John Ross in there for the time being. He's a guy, he can get it done. Now he looks like he's hurt too, so even more questions at wide receiver for the Giants and Danny Dimes, so even more reason 2 to 5 wins might be the right damn thing, man. So back to the Jets here. NFC South. This, I am not as high at all as I was with the Giants. Not even close. Or I'm a little bit. I don't know. I guess I'm kind of right in the same spot. I don't know how I feel here. I could see them getting the win over the Falcons. It is in London, so that gives them the advantage. I like that potentially.
I think, right?
I hope. I don't know. And then Carolina's week 1. That's in Carolina.
Yeah. Sam Darnold revenge.
I think it's going to be Sam Darnold revenge game. I really do too. And as far as the Saints and Bucks go, I just think those defenses are going to be way too much for Zach Wilson. That offense, jeepers creepers. Give me 1-3 just because I think they get the London win.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I will say 1-3, and maybe they can find their win. If it's not the Falcons, somewhere else, but that's where I'm thinking as well. Get them a win in London against a matchup that they're not totally overpowered as far as a defensive pass rush. So I will also say 1-3 here, partner.
Remaining 3: Bengals, Broncos, Eagles. I think. Doggone it, man. Every time I think that they can get it, and it's just like, I don't know. They'll get the win over the Bengals. That's at home,
Okay.
week 8. They want that one. They're going to need that one bad. That's kind of not the battle of rookie quarterbacks, but Joey B in his sophomore season. Zach Wilson wanted to prove it a little bit. I get a little bit of that vibes coming from that game. Broncos, I do not see them winning that game. And then the Eagles, I do see them potentially squeaking that out because that is in New York once again. So to give them a little shining beam of light, the 3 remaining games, I give them a 2-1.
Okay. I will flip and go 1-2. Not beating Denver in week 3. Not even going to waste any breath after that. I'll say a split between the Bengals and Eagles. Those two are 2 question mark teams for me. I don't have high hopes for either of them, but on a week-to-week basis, I think one of the 2 of those teams can put together something. So I will say a nice 1-2. They figure out either the Bengals or the Eagles there in week 13, partner.
All right, so either way, you're rocking and rolling. My partner gives him 1 less win than I do. I am the exact same record he had for the Giants. For the Jets, I got him going 5-12.
All right.
And then I have you have him going 4-13. So I hate to say it, but I think that's going to kind of be right where it's at. And there's just some really bad matchups on this schedule. I think the coaching staff is great. I think this will be a great year for them to get their feet wet, and maybe they'll be able to pull off a couple of those wins. Maybe get 7 wins. I don't know. It's awful lofty because their game total or season win total is at 6.5. So a little something to think about there. But that does it for our entire schedule predictions for the Giants and the Jets. We are cooking right along here. Second segment of the day. Now moving into the not third and final. Where am I going? Hostess with the mostest. It's only the third segment of the day. We got 4 here. So third segment of the day. You know what we love to do. We love to cash tickets. We love to analyze lines. We love to do everything in between because that's how we started this whole journey. And we're sports betting analysts at the end of the day. So first things first, let's get into the Giants betting preview. Now I'm going to go pretty quickly through this, so keep on up. The Giants in 2020 were an underdog on average by 4.8 points. They come into 2021 as an underdog by 2.3 points. So you be the judge of that. Books moving that around a little bit. but they might be able to cover those, or it might just be the books trying to trap you into taking the Giants. It's going to be another piss poor year. They're favored in 5 games, dogs in 12 games, so pretty similar to 2020. In 2020, they had a 9-7 ATS record with a 6-10 straight up record. 0-2 as a favorite, 9-5 as a dog against the number. At home against the number, they were 3-5 with a matching 3-5 straight up record. 0-1 ATS as a home favorite and 3-4 ATS as a home dog. On the road, they were actually pretty solid against the number. 6-2 ATS with a 3-5 straight up record. 0-1 as a road favorite and 6-1 as a road dog.
Well, a cup of Joe there.
That would be water, but yes, sir.
Sorry.
Either way, those are the key ATS trends and stats. As far as over-under goes, they had an average line of 44.8. The books, once again, tick it up, not down, but in their favor. 46.2 going into 2020, the average game total for the Giants. They were 4-12 over-under, had an overall record there in 2020. Sheesh. They were 6-2 to the under at home, 6-2 to the under on the road. They were 11-3 to the under as a favorite and 1-1 as a dog. Team that you wouldn't mind adding to your teaser. Definitely got to be the right spread, and you want to get them through a lot of key numbers so you make it as least sweaty as possible. 6, 7, and 10-point teasers respectively. 13-3, 13-3, and 14-2 records. So definitely in those 10-point teasers, I think you can probably look to them, but we'll talk about it a little bit here in just a second when we get into the weekly lines. Now, before we get into the weekly lines, because that'll be a little bit more in depth. Let me see. We'll just stick with the Giants. We'll stick with the Giants, and we'll run through the whole Giants betting preview. Then we'll just dive into the Jets. So, that all being said, weekly lines for the Giants. Well, so glad you asked, because they are not the most favorable in the world. And we're going to have to really wait and see if we're going to be able to bet them at all. I think they're going to be prime fade material. So, quickly, going week by week, my friends. Week 1, they are catching a point against the Broncos, and that one is in New York, as we've already told you. Week 2, they're getting 3 points against the football team in Washington. Week 3, they're laying 2.5 points against the Falcons at home. Week 4, getting 5.5 points against the Saints on the road, and then another 5.5 points in Week 5 against Dallas at the Star. Week 6, they're back at home, getting 3.5 points against the Rams, which is very, very doggone interesting to me. Week 7, they are laying 3 points at home against the Panthers. Week 8, biggest spread, or actually matches biggest spread. Kansas City, they're getting 10 points, touchdown and a field goal in Week 8 in Arrowhead Stadium. Week 9, they are playing the Raiders, but they are giving 1.5 to the Raiders in Week 9. Then they got their bye week, Week 10. Then Week 11, they got the Buccaneers, again, getting a field goal and a touchdown. 10 points there on the road in Tampa Bay. Week 12, they're giving 3 points to the Eagles. 13, they are getting 3.5 points against the Dolphins in Miami. Week 14, they're getting 6 points against the Chargers in LA, which I don't think is nowhere near enough for that game. They are getting a point against Dallas. This time, this one is played in New York in Week 15. Week 16, they got Philly again, getting 1.5 points in Philadelphia, and then close out the season, Week 17, Week 18, getting 2 points against the Bears on the road. Horse shit. Give me all of the Bears -2. And then Week 18, they are giving 1.5 points to the Washington football team. I will gladly take the +1.5 with WFT and the money line in Week 18. Yep. Solid value for fade material is what I'm seeing there, my friends. I believe there is going to be plenty of opportunities for you to bet against the Giants, especially with the books setting these lines so low. I told you that they ticked it down a little bit here into 2020, made them a little bit less of a dog, and I think that was stupid because we going to be cashing tickets, fading the New York Giants this year, I does believe. Yeah. Those of you who tuned in know this now or have studied these lines in depth. That's what I'm thinking, partner. What are you feeling here? Any value popping off the board before we move along?
Yeah, similar to you. I mentioned it earlier. I think they're just going to be very outmatched against some of these teams that have awesome pass rushes. Denver, Washington both times, and your Bears, maybe a couple other teams, especially if those lines are right around where they are now. I'm going to be hammering the mess out of the Giants. You know, you look back and you see the 6-2 ATS away. I think there's no chance that continues once again this year. Maybe their defense traveled really well, but as we mentioned, or I have mentioned, those home field advantages are going to come back. So I think their defense can maybe still travel like they did last year, but I don't think their offense is going to travel like they did last year. So I'm going to be a little tentative on the road, but the ones that I'm really looking for are those games against those really good pass rushes here.
Yeah, and as far as the over-unders go, we typically spend some time on that. Not a whole lot you can draw from there on that end of the spectrum. They're right around the 46, 47, 48 line, so it's really going to depend who they're playing, if it's going to be a defensive beatdown like you're talking about, or if the opponent is going to be able to put up a shitload of points on them, and maybe they'll be able to get the over. Who knows?
I don't think it's going to be 4-12 to the, or 12-4 to the under like last year. I do think they'll still be an under team. How about you?
I would have to agree with you. I don't think it'll be that bad, though. However, let's keep it moving, keep it grooving, my friends. One of the rare times you get to see me without glasses on the pod. Partner, got to ask you, because there ain't a whole lot of other value. We need to talk about betting the Giants. We definitely like to fade them. Week 1, way too early pick, but not so much anymore because there's only 13 days away now, under 2 weeks. Holy shit, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to start cashing gridiron fucking tickets. But Mags, week 1, they are playing the Broncos in New York. Are you taking the point with the Broncos, or maybe even potentially the money line, because fuck them? Or are you going to say the Giants get the win early in the season and you're taking them with pride?
We mentioned it all day. I just mentioned I love these pass rushes against the Giants, and the Denver Broncos are included in that. It is up to 1.5. I just checked as you were checking.
Love it.
Not big enough to feel like I needed to interrupt you, but 1.5. Give me the Broncos. And in the first 2 weeks, give me the opponent team here, Broncos, and then the football team, just to add on to that there.
I love them. I'm not going to disagree with you on either one of those picks, and I'm going to take the underdog money line on both of those. I'll take the Broncos, and I'll take the football team. Definitely look for them in my bet slip, but as we're getting closer here, these bets are becoming more and more real as we're talking about them. So I love those two.
Yeah, a couple of these, I'm like, all right, should I be hammering these in like this weekend?
No, should I get with this now? So we're starting to think about that now. So we'll be telling you if we are for sure, and you can see them in our bet slips too. Action Network, talkingtheline.com.
Right.
We'll be sure to cover that into the show. Keep it moving here. As far as those totals in those games go, before we move along, 42.5 against the Broncos and 43 against the football team. So I think both of those are going to be under games if I was a betting man, and I am, and there's nothing like sweating out a damn good under. Life is too short to bet the over, ladies and gentlemen. Let's keep it moving and keep it grooving.
Flipping it on us, huh?
Yes, sir, I am. The win total is currently set at 7 wins. Over is at minus 130 and under is at plus 110. Partner, we both came way under regardless of if you were a little pessimistic with me or optimistic with me. It's a little fishy for me. I'm not running to the window to hammer in under 7 wins for the New York Giants at plus 110, but I also do believe that that is set that way, so a lot more people will take the over. I think the under cashes, but I'm not going to run to the window and play this season win total for the Giants.
Yeah, I really want to play under 7, but I think I'm going to stay away just because there are a handful of games, as we've mentioned, that are toss-up games. We did say we don't like the Giants to win those games, but there is a world where they win a lot of these toss-up games, and maybe some of these teams on their schedule are a lot more disappointing than we are leading on to them. So I will say under, but I'll also stay away from them.
All right. Obviously, make or miss the playoffs is going to be pretty long odds with how we've already been talking about them.
Right.
Yes, plus 230, no, minus 300. There's no reason to even stop and talk about that if you have bet in any form or fashion in your life. No real reason to stop either for division conference or Super Bowl. I think it's going to, as my partner does as well, shake out between the Cowboys or the football team here in the NFC East. They're currently third with plus 400 odds, so actually right on with our prediction. Yep. So that is about all we need to say there. No major value on the NFC winner or the Super Bowl 56. Couple of, well, maybe just one to target side bet, but I've already given you 2 potential side bets for this, so do with this as you will. But Saquon Barkley, comeback player of the year, is at plus 700 odds. He's right up there in the top of the pack.
I think he's number 2.
Yeah, right next to Christian McCaffrey. They're right in that ballpark. So I mean, maybe worth a look. I think he's going to struggle. And not because of his fault. Because of his fault. They're going to rush way too early. way too much on early downs, and he's going to struggle. And I hate to say it, but that's what I think. So I would say avoid him as comeback player of the year.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think I don't know if struggle is the right word. He's just not going to meet his expectations, and it's not going to be his fault. That's where I'm at.
It's just not going to be a Saquon season.
Right. And I also am kind of banking on a quarterback winning this award, whether it's Dak, Carson Wentz. Now Jameis is in that conversation. We talked about him yesterday. If he limits his interceptions and puts up a shitload of yards and touchdowns. So I'm going to stay away. I think it's going to be a quarterback winning this one.
All right. Well, that does it, my friends, for the Giants betting preview. Let's flip the script on over to the...
You got Jameis Squinston on the mind?
Squinston on the mind. New York Jets betting preview. All right. Once again, strap in. Get you a couple... nice. So I got my last swig of Joe here. All right. 2020 trends for the New York Jets. In 2020, they were an underdog on average by 9.2 points. Has come way down this year to an underdog of 3.5 points. Obviously, you would think a majority of that would be because of the addition of Zach Wilson and a lot of the different moves they made. They are still only favored in 4 games in 2021 and dogs in 13. In 2020, let's go back to the past. They had a 6-10 ATS record, but were the aforementioned 2-14 straight up earlier on in the show. Never favored, so 0-0 as a favorite, and 6-10 ATS as an underdog. At home, they were 4-4 ATS with a 1-7 straight up record, 4-4 ATS as a home dog. Away was not very good at all. 2-6 ATS, exact same 1-7 straight up record. 2-6 ATS as that away dog. So not real good for the Jets as far as the trends department goes when it comes to covering the number. But hey, Jets fans, only up from here. Maybe. As far as the game totals go, they had an average line in 2020 of 44.6, or average total rather. They have ticked it up just a little bit. Again, in my mind, I think that is because of Zach Wilson, up to 45.5 for 2021. In 2020, they were 7-9 over/under overall, and potentially 6-10 depending on the closing line that you saw. 4-4 at home. 5-3 to the under on the road. They were obviously never a favorite, so nothing there. And then 9-7 over under as an underdog. Or I apologize, 9-7 to the under as an underdog. So pretty severe under team. I think we see unders once again from this team. I think they will struggle early to put up a bunch of points, and then they'll finally get it figured out and get some good momentum going into next year, but not any outlandish momentum by any means. And then wrapping it up, as far as a good teaser for 2020 trends, you probably want to avoid them again. I would have to say 6, 7, and 10-point teasers, 8-8, 8-8, and 9-6. Now, Bob Saleh is no Adam Gase.
No, sir.
And Mike LaFleur is no Adam Gase.
Sir.
So I think that these are going to improve drastically. Speaking of, where is that Adam Gase fella?
Who knows, man?
Have you heard from him in a while?
You know, I was reading something the other day. I totally forgot what it is. Let me check, because I want to say it might have even been, he's either some random.
I think he's a high school coach.
That's what I'm thinking too. I don't know. You can move on and I'll figure it out.
Either way, let's keep it moving, keep it grooving.
Offensive coordinator of a local high school team, not even
OC of a local high school. All right. Great for Gase.
Gosh.
Great for Gase. Love to see it, buddy. Let's keep it moving right along. Going into 2021, back to the future, my friends. We'll look at some of the weekly lines here, week by week. Keep on up. We're going at light speed. I told you. Week 1, they are getting 4.5 points against Carolina in Carolina. Week 2, they are getting 3 points.
4.5.
4.5 points against the Patriots at home. Week 3, they go to Mile High, getting 5.5 points against the Broncos. Week 4, they're going down to Tennessee, playing the Titans and getting 3 points. Or actually, no, they are back at home to play the Titans. Then they go down to Atlanta, the ATL, Week 5.
I believe that's a London, actually.
Oh, that is the London game. Man, I'm all over the fucking map here. That is in London. They are getting 3 points in the London game. Told you they might win that game, so might be a good underdog spot to take the Jets.
Sure.
Week 6 is their bye week. Week 7, they are getting 6 points against the Patriots on the road. Week 8, finally favored for once. They're giving a point to the Bengals at home, so we'll see how that shakes out. Week 9, they are playing the Colts. They are getting 8.5 points on the road. Week 10, less than the Colts against the Bills, division rival. Game is at home, though. They are getting 7 points, getting a touchdown against the Bills, getting a field goal against the Dolphins in week 11 in Miami. Oh, no, that is in New York. And then week 12, they are giving a point to the Houston Texans. So even when they're favored, it's not by big numbers at all here, folks. And then week 13, they're giving a point to the Eagles at home. They are getting 3, only 3, to the Saints at home. Very interesting. Week 15, they are getting 6.5 points on the road in Miami. Week 16, they are giving a 1.5 to the Jags at home. And then 17 and 18, getting 8.5 points at home against the Bucks. And then 6.5 points against the Bills on the road. I am really, 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 really interested where the books think that the Jets are going to keep the games at a touchdown or better.
I know.
Between the Bills,
right?
Especially on the road, they lost the hook. They got a 6.5 and a 7. They're 6.5.
I think that's got to be
the road.
Assuming the Bills tie things up early and they just don't care about that game.
I suppose I would. Yeah,
that would have to be. That's the only explanation.
Overall, my friends, short of the London game, I don't know. There's going to be a whole lot of spots I'm going to be comfortable taking the Jets.
Texans and Jaguars, depending on what we see from them at those points of the season.
Potentially, and I don't want to rush to the window as fast as I did the Giants and fading them, because I am high on them from time to time that they could pull something out of their ass and get it done. So I think it's a potentially wait and see. Maybe we can make some money on them. Maybe we can make some money fading them. I just don't know yet. And then it's pretty much the same for the game total department. They got a lot of 42s and 43s, and then they got a lot of 48s and 47s. So 48s and 47s might be those overs, 42s and 43s might be those unders.
Right.
So just a little something to think about there, partner. Anything jumping off the page at you before I keep it steaming down the tracks?
Yeah, pretty similar to you. That week 2 line against the Patriots, I'm interested in that one. Early on here, if the Jets come out looking terrible and the Patriots come out looking good, that spread might jump up over close to a touchdown as opposed to the 4.5. So I might actually hammer that one in pretty soon here because I think the Patriots absolutely smoke them. Week 1, I'll save that for when you ask me. But, the rest of them, I really don't know, man. I'm going to have to wait and see as well here.
So quickly, week 1, they are in Carolina against the Panthers. Way too early pick, not anymore. There's only 13 days away. I almost said weeks. They're getting 4.5 points against the Panthers. Are you going to take those 4.5 points, or are you thinking?
I'm thinking
that the Panthers are going to get it done.
You confused me there. I am thinking, I don't know if I'll hammer this one in. I'm leaning towards the Carolina Panthers. I think that's just much more complete team, top to bottom. Sam Darnold revenge game, but at the same time, kind of like we're saying, I think that one's going to have to be a wait and see team. I think I know what I believe I'm going to see from the Carolina Panthers, but I'm not confident enough to hammer it in week 1. So I'll stay away for the most part, at least as of right now. Sunday morning on, September 12th might change my mind, but as of now, I'll stay away.
Same here. I like the Panthers, but 4.5 spreads as a favorite always scare me, especially with you have kind of a question mark team like Carolina. So I, too, will stay away. I could potentially see that game going under the 43, but once again, got to see a little bit more, know a little bit more before I run to that. So it's a stay away for now, my friends. Keep it moving. Win total. Current season win total is set at 6 total wins. Now, if you were with me, of course I threw that shit away.
You had 5.
Yeah, I was 5 and 12, and you were 4 and 13. So either way, we're both under, but there's no plus money Pauly action here.
Right.
The over 6 is at minus 115, and the under is at minus 105. Not really any value there. I'm not sweating out a minus 105 ticket on an under. And honestly, I hope that the Jets do not go
as bad as we're talking. Yeah.
I hope they have improvements.
Yeah, I'm also thinking under. I'm just going to stay away just because I love this coaching staff so much.
Don't even worry about any alternate totals.
Yeah, I'm just curious. I'm just curious what they are.
So
but yeah.
I'll keep them. Yeah, because we are kind of running through
go
here.
ahead.
So to make or miss the playoffs, obviously not any value there at all. Plus 490, minus 700. Really don't need to discuss that whatsoever. And then really no value to play there on the division, conference, or Super Bowl. I really hope for your sake, Jets fans, that they do improve in a lot of key areas. But overall, I think it's going to be a stay away all season long for the Jets.
100%.
Last but certainly not least, a couple of side bets maybe to look at. offensive rookies of the year. Zach Wilson is at plus 650. If he balls out and surprises the hell out of us, definitely. And then his looks to be one of his key receivers, Elijah Moore, at plus 2,500. We have been liking those plus 2,000 to plus 2,500 odds on these future plays. So maybe with a little sprinkle, a little something to look at there, but I don't necessarily know that Elijah Moore is going to have the numbers to get it done.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm not hammering in these guys. Wilson, this path is certainly there. And I mean, Elijah Moore, if he's in that conversation, you have to imagine Zach Wilson's going to be even higher in that conversation. So I'll stay away from both of them altogether here.
All righty then. So that does it. All the value for the New York Jets and their full season betting preview. Now, before we go any further, just wanted to make sure we had nothing else to discuss betting-wise. Doesn't look like we have anything else. It looks like we are ready to rock and roll. So, with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into the fourth and final segment of the day. We'll get back into the Giants right now with our best fantasy advice in the segment we have coined. Start, stash, or pass. First things first, partner, quarterback room. Are you targeting in any capacity in your upcoming draft Mr. Danny Dimes Jones? Or will you be targeting Mr. Mike Glennon in any capacity going into your upcoming draft? And if you do, will you be starting them, stashing them, or passing them altogether?
Give me Mike Glennon, baby. No, just kidding. No, actually, my sister-in-law used to babysit his kids when he was playing in Chicago, funny enough. Yeah, so, not really relevant as far as this conversation. Thought I'd mention that.
Hey, you never know what rabbit hole you're going to find at the TTL pod.
But as far as Danny Dimes, I'm going to stay away, man. He was the number 24 quarterback last year. I think that certainly improves and he gets into the top 20, but I don't think he's going to get anywhere near the top 10 or top 12, kind of where you're looking for your starting quarterback. And I don't like him enough to be even my backup quarterback. So, maybe there's a week or two if I'm desperate. Maybe he's got a nice matchup. But overall, I'm going to pass on Mr. Danny Dimes.
Yeah, I'm good. Nothing else I need to say on top of that. Sure. I'm going to pass on him. I don't think we see production from Danny Dimes this year. Running back room, Saquon Barkley, Devontae Booker. Make it easy for you. Devontae Booker, pass on him altogether. And maybe potentially a little red flag some point in the season. Anything happens. Maybe a handcuff, but nowhere near a top 5 or even top 10 handcuff in the league, in my opinion. Sure. And then Saquon. Obviously, I hope he has a huge year. Obviously, I think he will finish well within the top 5 or top 10 backs, but I just think there's going to be some weeks that he's going to spin the wheels, and he might not produce the RB1 numbers you need. Right. Might not even be RB2 numbers, and then the next week he throws up 40 points.
Right.
I don't know if you can depend on that. I would say, obviously, if that's your RB1, you're in the top 6 picks, and all those other RBs are off the board, you're going to have to take Saquon. You need that, but just be a little careful. Jason Garrett might shoot this man in the foot this year, and I just think you need to be very careful.
Yeah, I'll handcuff Booker just off the knock on wood, just because of a little bit of an injury, coming off of an injury for Saquon. So if anything happens, like you said, I'm not saying he's top 5, top 10 handcuff, but knock on wood, if anything does happen and he's the number 1 guy, I'll take him. Saquon, much like you, partner, I would love to have him. I think there's at least 3 guys in the draft you should target. You shouldn't be taking Saquon first or second overall. And I would even take Dalvin Cook over Saquon, much like you. But, sure, if I'm in the middle of the first round and Saquon's there and none of these top 3 guys are there, I'll definitely be happy taking him.
Absolutely. Wide receiver room, my friend. There's a lot of names, a lot of guys. I don't know what capacity you can target them in, to be honest with you. I took Kenny Galladay early as hell last year when he was injured. And they were predicting him to be back week 1. Everything's all good, no problem. This is it was like I was in the fucking Twilight Zone. I was reading the exact same article I read from last year this year. I had to check the date and everything. Like, it's the fucking Twilight Zone. So I'm not trusting Kenny Galladay this year. I want to. I can't with the injury question marks, and he screwed my whole season last year. So, hey, nothing against Kenny. He's a guy. He is a guy and a half in the NFL. And if you guys want to shoot your shot on him, I think maybe he could, but the injury just looms too large for me, and I cannot have a wide receiver 1. He is a wide receiver 1, no question. He got paid like it, no question. But I cannot have my locked-in wide receiver 1 still having question marks going into week 1, 2, maybe 3.
Okay.
I can't have it.
I'm similar. Oh, sorry, did you have more?
I was going to, but you were kind of going in. So just to wrap up all of them, Darius Slayton, Worth a flex spot. That's going to be a later round pick for you. Sterling Shepard is going to be maybe a wide receiver 2 flex most weeks, but he might early in the season be more of a wide receiver 2. Definitely worth a target in some of the later rounds. And then as far as everybody else, maybe Kadarius Toney. I think Kadarius Toney definitely for dynasty purposes would be good. Maybe we see him quarter of the way, halfway through the season, start producing fantasy-wise this year. That's all my thoughts. I also do like John Ross, but obviously with him getting hurt, and he just really hasn't been a fantasy guy in a while. So that's my thoughts on the wide receiver room. Now hit him with it, partner.
All right, partner. I'm tentative, much like you are on this entire roster of wide receivers. There's all of these guys I have interest in some level. As far as who's going to be the guy that's producing on a week-to-week basis has me concerned. I mean, Sterling Shepard had an average when he was healthy, 13.5 points. I like that, but there were some down weeks in there as well. Darius Slayton, I might pass on him altogether. His production dropped off when Sterling Shepard was healthy, and now you bring in Kenny Galladay if he's healthy. So I'm actually passing on Slayton altogether. Dynasties for Tony, I will stash him. Passing on him for redraft this year. Don't know what we're going to see from him. So I have interest in Sterling Shepard. I'll stash him. Galladay, I would love to draft him, but if there's another guy that I'm more confident in his injury health, his consistency, I'm going to take that other guy. So, if Galladay's fallen, people are also nervous on him. I'll take him a little bit beyond where he's probably going in drafts. So I guess I'll stash him, but I'm very, very tentative on this whole lineup here of wide receivers.
All right, tight end. Only really one you need to talk about is Evan Ingram. They really need to improve him here in 2021. I think he has the possibility and potential to finish in that top cream of the crop of the guys outside of the top 10 that we keep talking about. I won't go out of my way to get him, but if he is going to be my tight end, I'm not going to be upset about it. I think that out of all of these receivers, he might have the most shot to put up the touchdowns and put up the receptions. So as far as PPR goes too, he might be worth it, but I definitely think he shouldn't be your number one target.
No.
Definitely set up some tiers, and there's at least a dozen guys ahead of him.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. He was number 15 tight end last year. I think he improves on that. But this is the guy the last couple of years that people have been expecting him to be that breakout guy, and not even where you said that next tier guys, they think he could be, until this year, they've thought that he's going to break out and be that maybe even number 5, top 5 tight end. And I'm not buying into it again this year. Like I said, I think he gets closer to 10th tight end. I'd love to have him as my number 2, but I still think people are going to be overdrafting him, and I'm not going to be one of those people. If he falls to me around where I'm looking at a number 2 tight end, I'll certainly take him, but I don't think that's going to be the case. I think he's going to be overdrafted in many, many leagues this year.
Nope. And then I think he's going to be overdrafted as well, so no, I probably won't take him. Then as far as kickers go, I don't know. I don't think any value there. Graham Gano, obviously, if you need a kicker spot, he is one of the guys that'll probably finish within the top 15, top 20, but wouldn't go out of my way to pick him up.
Sure.
And then as far as the defense goes, I would let them fall to the waiver wire. If you are hurting, they might be able to put up some nice numbers as far as touchdowns, as far as maybe some turnovers here or there. The sacks probably won't be there, but if you're really hurting, maybe worth a look, but I'm going to pass on the New York Giants defense and special teams.
Okay. They were number 14 defense last year, so I might be interested in them as a number 2 defense. Yeah. It's kind of a sneaky defensive unit here, so maybe I like it a little bit. I think they forced a lot of fumbles, but they didn't have the best luck of recovering it, so maybe that flips around this year, and they actually recover a lot higher percentage of those fumbles, so I might look at him as my number 2 defense here.
All right. So that is all the best fantasy advice in start, stash, or pass for the Giants. Let's quickly move into the Jets here. Partner, first things first, the quarterbacks here. Are you targeting Zach Wilson in your upcoming fantasy draft? And if so, are you starting him, stashing him for now, or passing on him altogether?
I'll pass on him. I could see him having a nice fantasy season, but just with the unknown, I'll pass on him altogether, at least in a redraft. In Dynasty, I might be interested in stashing him, but I'll pass on him just with the uncertainty of what we see from him from a fantasy standpoint here.
Same for me. I would stash him in a Dynasty as my QB2, and then, maybe stash him in a redraft league, but that's a whole bunch of maybes there before that. So, running back room, Tevin Coleman, Michael Carter. I'm going to avoid Tevin Coleman. If you go back to all the 49ers running backs, there's never been really a 49ers running back you could depend on fantasy-wise from week to week. I'm not going to trust him in New York, but I will, however, if I can get my hands on him, I'm going to take a stash on Michael Carter.
Yeah.
Most definitely for dynasty purposes, but I think too in redraft this year, I think he can kind of emerge as that number one back, kind of push Tevin out of the way and really get a bulk of the workload. So I will be stashing him with the expectation he can potentially break out around week 5 or 6.
I don't have too much to add. We can move right along. I've got very similar opinions as you do, partner.
All right. And then as far as the wide receiver room goes, not a whole lot of things worth mentioning here. Now, obviously, a few guys that you might want to think about. Corey Davis, obviously breakout year in 2020. I would make him a wide receiver 3 mid-tier flex week to week. Unless he breaks out big time and becomes a favorite target of Zach Wilson, I just don't ever really see him breaking out as a fantasy player. Jamison Crowder had a few good fantasy seasons here or there. I don't know what he's going to do out of the slot. I'm going to go ahead and pass on him, let him fall to the waiver wire, and then maybe potentially he's still on the waiver wire and he starts doing good things. But at the most, a bench ad, a late round bench ad. I don't know. He might get overdrafted. I might not even get to see him. Denzel Mims, I think we see a lot of improvement in the sophomore season here, especially with Zach Wilson. I don't think any better than flex numbers, but definitely a flex you can plug and play from week to week and it's going to get you some good numbers. And then Elijah Moore coming in out of Ole Miss. He was a dog at Ole Miss, and I just don't see how he cannot be here in New York. So I think he gets on the field sooner rather than later. For now, would be worth a stash. And probably kind of like how I was with Michael Carter, maybe right around 4, 5, 6, he becomes a guy you can really depend on. So outside of that, also like Keelan Cole, I think he has potential to break out, but I got to pass on him for now with definitely putting a red flag on him to see what can potentially happen here in 2021.
Alrighty, I've got very similar opinions here. Another room that I'm really interested in some of these guys. I'm just going to be real tentative in the draft because I think one of these guys is going to break out to be, we just don't know who Zach Wilson's going to like throwing to on a week-to-week basis. Is it going to be a carousel of guys? Maybe one guy's putting up that 15-plus number, and maybe it's the same guy every week. Maybe it's a carousel like I'm kind of saying, and that's kind of what I'm predicting here. So I'm really tentative to take one of these guys high in the draft on the basis that maybe that's a guy that Zach Wilson just doesn't have a lot of chemistry with. So I want to stash just about every single one of these guys, I guess is what I'm saying here. Corey Davis, 13.7 average last year. Crowder, 14.3. So I guess Crowder would be the one that I think would maybe have the most consistency. So that would be my favorite one that I would target here, I guess, is what I'm kind of saying here.
All right, so not a whole lot of value from us, but I think we're kind of on that same page. Pretty much all stash guys and kind of wait and see what we actually get from them. Definitely have that upside, but just don't know if we see it right away.
Right.
Tight end, Chris Herndon, about the only one you really need to talk about with any fantasy value as well. He falls in that cream of crop, but the bottom end of that cream of crop, and he's only going to get you 1 or 2 weeks where you can really write home about him. I'm going to pass on him this year. I tried him a few years back, and it just did not work out well at all. So I'm going to pass on Chris Herndon altogether.
Yep, same here. No interest in any tight end out of this room.
All right. And then last but certainly not least, my friends, well, 2 last but certainly not least, but kickers are people too. We got Matt Amendola in town for the New York Jets. No idea. Maybe he is going to be that future sleeper for the league. Maybe the Jets turn into the field goal team we have come to know and love. Who knows? But worth maybe a little ear to the streets or a little red flag.
Ear to the streets on these kickers.
Matt Amendola. And then as far as the defense goes, I am going to stay away. However, I think that they are worth a red flag.
Yep.
Robert Saleh is not no slouch. And I think if anything improves, it's going to be this defense. And this defense could shock the hell out of a lot of people. So I'll put a red flag on them and maybe even move them right now into that kind of defense 2 spot for me. I like their chances of improving.
You're a bit higher on them. I will do a red flag and maybe I'll scoop them up if I'm liking what I'm seeing against some of these bad teams like Texans, week 12 type range. Might be a little streaming option for me.
All right. Well, there it is. Light speed through start, stash, or pass. Our best fantasy advice for the New York Jets. Holy smokes. We did it, my friend. We got through it. The second of 2 double NFL special editions. We just talked everything Giants and talked everything Jets. If you came in late, if you missed anything, it's all there. You can go and hear us blabber on about the full team breakdowns, give our predictions for the schedules, see the betting preview, and then, if you just missed the fantasy advice, It's right there. Just roll on back. And now, new and improved, we add chapters to our YouTube videos so you guys can easily find what we're talking about and skip right through to a section. So our tech guy has been doing a lot of work and figured out how to do that. So, hey, thanks, tech guy. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. All right, well, with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, before we do a little TTL after hours, holy shit, we are only 2 minutes over time here with the double team. Not too bad. Had to push it along in a few spots, but nonetheless, we're moving and grooving. All right, let's send both the Giants and the Jets on about their 2021 season. Here we go. 2, Joe Judge, Jason Garrett, and Patrick Graham. Everyone on the offensive and defensive side of the ball, and each and every person inside of the New York Giants G-Men organization, we wish you the best of luck in 2021 and hope that our predictions are incorrect. As for the Jets, to Robert Saleh, Mike LeFleur, and Jeff Ulbrich, we too wish you the best in your coaching seasons here in 2021. Every offensive and defensive player to have nothing but electricity pumping through your veins so you too can maybe do a little bit better than what we have predicted here. Nonetheless, good luck to all of you and Godspeed.
Godspeed.
There we have it. There you go. That is officially the 23rd NFL Special Edition. Ooh. Let me breathe it out here for a second. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, not a whole lot here to do. We're just going to wrap it on up, get you on about the weekends. We obviously got little motivation minutes coming here down the pipe. A few little updates, things we'll tell you about here. No late breaking news that I can see. Go ahead.
Breaking news. Well, we didn't mention it this morning. Mr. Jameis Winston getting the starting role for the New Orleans Saints. Wish that news came out yesterday when we were covering the Saints, but we'll take it today. But actual NBA breaking news for our Chicago Bulls. Lauri Markkanen on the way out. No longer in a Chicago Bull uniform. He's going to Cleveland. Bulls get Derrick Jones Jr. That's nothing to me. I was a big supporter of Lowry, thinking he was going to break out at some point in his career with the Bulls, and it just never panned out. So,
just did not ever pan out for sure. So he's out. He gone.
Derrick Jones Jr. coming in.
Our man, Jameis Winston, officially named as the starter. Is Taysom Hill staying in New Orleans, or is he going to be out of town as well?
I think they might actually do what I said yesterday. A couple matchups where they decide that Taysom's a better option against like Washington or somebody. I don't know.
Maybe, or we see Jameis having the number one spot for yardage this season. So
possibly.
Who knows? Who knows what the hell happens? Either way, now you know some late breaking news. All right. We need a little bit of knowledge, partner. Anything burning on the brain, melting on the heart, festering on the soul. You have been dying to get out to the folks that joined us on episode number 112 of the Talking the Line podcast on this beautiful August 27th, 2021.
Alrighty, so I mean, hey, double issue. The last time we had a double issue, it was a team that, it was actually two teams that played in the division, so they played a lot more. But hey, New York teams, they've seen each other a handful of times, not as many as you would expect. Not quite like the MLB where they make sure they get their crosstown rivals playing every single year. These teams have actually only played 14 times in their history. First game was in 1970. They really only play every 4 years or so. So first game 1970, Jets have won the last two, but the Giants lead the series 8-6. No playoff games. It would have to be the Super Bowl. That has not been the case. So 8-6 record for the Giants in these games, and they don't play each other this year. So I think the last game was in 2019. So it might be a couple more years.
All right. Well, thank you for that, partner, because I would have definitely thought they would have had
I was
more
surprised to see only
that.
14, yeah.
Yeah, and the Giants only be up 8-6. Like, there's not really like a clear one team better than the other. I would think that the Jets have historically been a little bit worse. I don't know. Hey, that's some interesting factual knowledge coming out of your sidebar today, partner. I appreciate it, and I know they do too. Soon, we will have all types of wonderful stuff coming out of your sidebar. Who knows what we might see on the sidebar coming very soon now that it is officially part of the TTL pod. All that being said, my friends, all right, we are getting really doggone close. So we have, what do we got here? We have 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 episodes left. Actually, 8 because we are skipping September the 3rd for a college football special show. That is obviously week 1. We got week 0 coming up this week. So if you want those picks, as always, make sure you check them on the Action app. We'll be pumping them out too on talkingtheline.com. You can see them on the Today's Best Bets tab or the Live Lines and Odds tabs. You can always find them there if you don't have the Action Network app or if you're in a hurry. Bang, talkingtheline.com. Also, so just so you know, the last one, 8 shows left. 9-8 is the official last NFL special edition before we get back to the daily Talking the Line podcast that we took a break from for the last 32 days. That will be the Washington football team. And then 9-9, the NFL season starts. 9-12, the first official Sunday games. 9-9 will be business as usual. We'll be back to my picks, Mags picks. We'll do the special play of the day. We'll have the money line dice roll. We'll throw a little bit of banter nonsense in there in between to wrap up the show. You know, a little after dark, the ransom reactions. You know how it goes down here at the TTL pod. So we'll get that back rocking and rolling here real soon too.
Might have to switch up Thursday's special play. It was triple play Thursday throughout the summer for baseball. Might have to be a little Thursday night football type special play. Maybe an SGP. I don't know.
Hey man, I'm always good with those names. I'll figure something out here off the cuff. We'll figure something out for sure as that rolls on along. We are very close to it, so we'll have it before you know it. Outside of that, now I've really been teasing the hell out of this, and I'm still going to tease the hell out of it. I'm not going to tell you what's coming on September the 8th, but it is officially official, and the next time that you do see us live, I will be able to tell you about what is coming right around the bend. I will fill you all in on all the nooks and crannies and all of the hints that I have been dropping, and they'll all start to make sense, and you'll understand why I've been keeping this so secretive, because it is rather important that we do so. So, stick around. Make sure you come on around the bend, episode number 113 on Monday, because we'll have some very, very important news, announcements, and updates for you guys to hear about. Once again, as it just has become a common trend, TTL Sports Media once again changing as you know it. And not for the bad. Never. Or the great.
Never for the bad.
Always for the up and up. You will never catch us down and down. We are always on the up escalator, never on the down eel. So please, stick with us. It's only getting bigger and better, and we're going to keep doing it for each and every one of you. That all being said, not a whole hell of a lot else I got to say here, partner. Just a reminder, hit that link tree down in this episode's description. I've said it 15 times already, but check out talkingtheline.com in case you missed that. Also, check out our best bets of the day on the website or on the Action Network app. I am at cash_with_Colt. Riley is at RMags in all caps. And then the best bets of the day, once we get back to business as usual, are at Talking the Line. So that is everything as far as best bets of the day goes. All of that jazz. We're still cashing tickets. I went 5-1 yesterday with 3-4 the day before. I really hate baseball. I don't understand it whatsoever. But hey, 8-5, can't complain for the last 2 days. That all being said, partner, anything I left out? Anything I missed before I send these kind folks into their weekend with some motivation minutes?
No, sir. I think we're about ready to rock.
All right. Well, I will get after it then. So, with all that being said, last but certainly not least, need a little extra inspiration, a little motivation, get you on about your Friday through the weekend until you see me again on Monday. Well, I got you back. Let's get into my motivation minutes for the day. Now, if you've been coming around, hanging around, you've been waiting for these throughout the course of this week, the whole theme has been you are in charge of your own happiness. If you are in a situation that is not making you happy, only you hold the key to unlock the door to getting out of that situation. And I won't go back all the way through every message I've had this week, but what I did want to do is kind of put a cap on top of it and visit something that I really didn't talk about. Because as you make the choice to start pursuing your passions or pursuing your own happiness, and as these things start to unfold and you pursue this mindset, what I'm about to talk to you guys is probably the hardest thing. Not probably, it is the hardest thing. And I talk about it a lot in a different form or fashion, but what I wanted to talk to you guys about today, and to close out chasing your own happiness, and you're in charge of your own happiness, and choosing that, is that it's going to be hard. You're going to battle adversity. You're going to be running 100 miles an hour. Everything's going to be great. And then you're going to smack your face right into the middle of a brick wall. There's going to be flaming arrows coming across the battlefield at you day in and day out. Sometimes there's going to be 2 of them. Sometimes there's going to be 5,000 flaming arrows. Sometimes they're going to send fireballs at you, and you're going to have to figure out how to just avoid those, because you ain't catching those and breaking them over your knee, my friend. You're just going to have to figure out how to not get hit. It's going to happen. I've said it before, when one door closes, when one door closes, another door opens, but it's hell in the hallway. You're just in that hallway. And what you got to remember as you are in that hallway, I wanted to share this quote with you, and this is kind of the cherry, as I always say, on top of the Motivation Minute Sunday that has been this week. Keep doing the right thing when the wrong thing keeps happening. Keep doing the right thing when the wrong thing keeps happening. It sounds so simple and so goofy, but has so much power. It's wild. And it's really hard to not just throw up your hands, to not just quit when things aren't going as you anticipated. To say, this is the universe telling me it's no good. Yeah, I shouldn't be doing this. I'm out. It was put on your heart for a reason. You were supposed to chase it for a reason. The reason why it hurts so bad right now, or you're facing this adversity, is 1, to get you ready for the opposite side and be an entirely new version of yourself. But 2, hand in hand with that, testing you to see if you really are about that action. You know what I'm saying? Are you really about that grind every day? Are you really about getting slapped in the face over and over and over again, and you get up that one day and all of a sudden it's become successful? Are you really about that action? That's what adversity is asking you. And if you like to carry yourself like you got badass motherfucker written on your wallet like I do, those are those moments that you want to embrace. And I hope that you can. And I hope that my messages through this week have given you that hope or that change of heart to say, you know what? I'm going to go do it. I'm going to go chase after what I want to go chase after, and I'm going to live my life happy. Because I'm telling you, at the end of the day, my friends, when you do, it opens up so many other doors for you that you never even knew existed. And I said this at the beginning of the month. This was actually my quote of the month, but it really, once again, kind of brought everything full circle. I wanted to leave you with this. Winners or losers who got up and gave it one more try. You can either stop now and be a loser for the rest of your life, or keep going with the hope of becoming a winner. And the thought of hope gives me a lot more drive than being a loser. I don't know about you, but that's where I get my goals from. And I don't do it for the notoriety or the fame or the money or whatever. I do it to share this message with you guys and to find that fulfillment and to give back what I find with these. And, you know, I can't tell you enough, guys, how much I appreciate you sticking around, how much I appreciate you listening to these. And from the bottom of my heart, I really, really hope that you will choose to start chasing your own happiness, regardless of whatever that's in. I've told you it all week. If it's a relationship, if it's your job, whatever it might be. If there is something or that is causing you pain, anxiety, no good in your life, you are the only one that has the ability to cut it out. You hold the key to unlock the lock and stop living your life in chains. So I leave you for the weekend till we get another chance to revisit some Motivation Minutes and an entirely brand new message. Keep doing the right thing when the wrong thing keeps happening. And winners are losers who got up and gave it one more try. And that does it for my motivation minutes of the day.
Great stuff, my man. The saying that comes to my head, what is it? Get knocked down 7, get back up 8. Mm-hmm. Yep, that's the one that I hear when, when that's similar translation is the winners are losers who got up and gave it another try. That's the quote that comes to my mind, the get knocked down 7, get up 8.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just kind of wanted to put a cap on it, just a little bit of different perspective. Honestly, it's game-changing, boys and girls, and I hope that if just one of you makes the decision, then I did my job. Start living happy, my friend. Stop living depressing, shitty lives. Just get out of the anxiety. You hold the power. I can't say it enough. I'll quit blabbering. I know I have been, but go chase your happiness, my friends. Go chase your happiness. All right. Well, that officially does it. The full season preview for the G-Men, Gangrene, everything in between, a little bit of banter, RMags Sidebar, my motivation minutes, everything all-encompassing, episode number 112. Anything I missed, partner? Anything happened to pop into your head additionally as I was wrapping up the show there?
No, sir. We got nothing going on.
All right. Well, let's send these folks on about their weekend the only way we know how. Ladies and gentlemen, degenerates, gamblers, New York Giants fans, New York Jets fans, fans of the NFL Shield, fantasy football players, NFL football bettors, far and wide, from myself and Mags. Thank you so much for choosing to stop by the Talking the Line podcast today and listen to a couple of guys talk about some foosball. We can't tell you how much we appreciate it, and we are only going to keep pumping out bigger and better content for each and every one of you guys. From the bottom of our hearts, we appreciate all of your following, all of your support, and we're only going to keep making this, as always, bigger and better for each and every one of you. Last, but certainly not least, don't think I forgot. We hope you have a spectacular rest of your Friday, unless you have other plans. A terrific start to the Friday evening and a beautiful weekend, and we'll see you back around the bend on Monday for episode number 113. And off the top of my head, I wish I would have been able to
Philadelphia Eagles.
It will be the Philadelphia Eagles. My partner always has my back. As always, make sure you check the best bets of the day. Have a spectacular Friday. And my friends, let's cash. Ooh, one more time.
One more.
Let's cash some tickets.